This is unironically fascist apologia. Trump was always a fascist. Whether or not he was ideologically a fascist is irrelevant. It was the byproduct of his neuroses. It wasn't they didn't cry wolf enough. In the run-up to 2016, the media mostly treated him like a joke. They didn't take him seriously enough. And then during his presidency, the only reason he didn't do more harm was because there were so many people in his own administration holding him back, you know? Adults in the room, neocons, people who were aware of how bad what Trump was doing was, you know?
A couple of days ago, I was delighted to see that The Daily Show uploaded a video of Jon Stewart not on a Monday. Lo and behold, though, it was him responding to a controversy about a segment that he did the following Monday of Trump's first week back in office.
Why do I have an axe?
There is a specific law that requires notice, 30 days, and a statement of reasons, substantive and detailed rationale.
What? I'm sorry, what? Oh, apparently you can fire them, but you have to give them 30 days notice. Oh, so that's what we're upset about? No! You can do it, but not in that font! But this is the cycle we find ourselves in. First law of Trumpodynamics. Every action is met with a very not equal overreaction, thus throwing off our ability to know when shit is actually getting real. Like last week's pardons.
These pardons are sick. They are offensive. They are un-American.
This is one of the most egregious, despicable acts in American history.
This is textbook authoritarian takeover 101.
I knew I should have taken that class. Is it an abuse of pardon power? I don't know. But that is his constitutional power. Again, for some reason, we have given presidents the power of a king. And then we say, oh, by the way, with that power, you're not going to get all like kingly and shit on us, right?
President Trump deploying executive action to end birthright citizenship.
This unconstitutional, un-American attack.
Shredding our Constitution.
Who wants to be a strongman authoritarian?
Birthright citizenship was very specifically tailored to send a message to people that America was a place. An idea. It wasn't for one race. It wasn't for one gender. Citizenship in America was based on where you were, not who you were. And to just stroke of a pen, finally I agree. That is authoritarian.
We do begin tonight with the federal judge blocking President Trump's executive order that would end birthright citizenship.
And we're back.
Now, as Stewart seems to be one of the biggest voices in the progressive movement right now, that Monday, whenever this aired, I kind of disagreed with him. I thought it was strange for Stewart to take a centrist position on this. Jesus, even more so in the context of everything Trump and Elon has done since he shared this opinion. Because where I'm sitting, the media isn't calling this out enough. Instead of educating us on the laws on the books that Trump and Elon have been breaking and asserting authority, they're just relying on these buzzwords, accurate buzzwords, plus...
I think what the media has done over the last 10 years is cry wolf. To the point where they numbed everybody. It was an anesthetic.
The Democrats mounted ineffective resistance, so they should have been even less effective. Like, the Democrats did a bad job pushing back against Trump, so as a consequence, like, we were wrong to call him a fascist? What does that even mean?
Which is an excellent point. I personally love this country, and I don't appreciate a bunch of billionaire corporate goons steering the ship. And I think it's pretty important to call this for what it is. His own generals in his first term jumped the ship, and these were warmongering neocons Trump picked who had called him a fascist.
Do you think he's a fascist?
Well, I'm looking at the definition of fascism. It's a far-right, authoritarian, ultranationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy. Certainly, the former president is in the far-right area. He's certainly an authoritarian. Admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist.
And all of that was way before.
We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
His daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb.
She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about.
Trump pardoning for Jan 6th, authoritarian. Trump gutting and cutting federal agencies and watchdogs, authoritarian. Trump's rhetoric about immigrants and political opponents, fascist. Which I understand. It makes sense that Jon Stewart would feel this way. Now, we know that whenever Stewart calls him a fascist, he's more by definition being a fascist.
Now look, I have a lot of fear that as this term goes on, things are going to get a little fascisty. And we must be vigilant. But part of vigilance is discernment. Republicans control the House, the Senate, the executive, and the judiciary. And just about every move that has been made till this point, we have granted them electorally. It's our fault. And the constant drum, it's just our fault.
However, I do also disagree with part of this because the Nazi Party was elected and towed the line constitutionally and pushed the status quo at the time.
The constant drumbeat of encroaching fascism will erode the credibility we will need hopefully if, and not when, it hits.
And this is a lot like people dissing Beyonce for getting Best Country Album. I don't know what else she would have to do for this to be considered country, and I don't know what else Trump would have to do to be labeled an authoritarian fascist at this point. I control you, and I control elites. Good night.